Hello, good evening everyone. I'm gonna jump straight into this video because I was on my way home from the hospital where I work and I saw that Dr. Umar posted a video after he went live on his IG page saying that there's a hater who's trying to stop the FDMG annual festival from happening, right? This will be the second annual festival. Now, granted, I did not attend the first one. And I've said that I doubt I will probably attend this one, right? For my own personal reasons that I've shared with you guys before. Basically related to just me. You know, I have a thing for Dr. Umar Johnson. No, it's no surprise, right? I like him a lot. It's like my crush, not even a secret crush, because I've already publicly declared my interest in him. And so I feel it would be awkward going to like an event that he hosts, considering, right? Considering, and I know myself, I feel like it'll be a tease, right? But I still support him from afar. And although he blocked me on his Facebook page because yeah, it was so petty. He was on his live and he was talking about pretendians, as he calls them. People who claim Native American descent or heritage. And I had to challenge him with that, you know, to say, like, some of us truly do have ancestors, immediate especially ancestors, who are Native American. And I had to emphasize, like, my mother's father, my maternal grandfather, was Native American. But anyway, I think there's a lot of confusion and miscommunication surrounding a lot of topics, and you know, it creates this back and forth, and somehow people get triggered because they think that a person is attacking their beliefs, right? People hold true and tight to their belief system, and so when they feel like a person doesn't agree with them, they feel threatened by that, right? And I think that's what happened. So he blocked me, unbeknownst that I am a big supporter of his, right? But I don't know if Dr. Umar Johnson really pays attention to names and it really like rings a bell and resonates. But I was following him on my profile page on Facebook under Danielle Ubawa. So maybe, I don't know. I don't think that he recognizes who I was at the time he blocked me. So I've been blocked from his Facebook page for a significant time now. I don't know how long it's been. Maybe a couple of months. I haven't really been paying attention. But I still do follow him on IG. And so as I was on my way home, I saw a bit of this video I'm about to play here in this video. And I'm actually going to react to it live here. So first, before I begin to play, I have to admit that I was a bit alarmed. Not really alarmed, but I think because by now, considering he's been under so much attack, it's really nothing that surprises me that the haters try to do, right? The extent by which they are willing to go. And I got a taste of that myself by being attacked by his trolls, right, and his detractors, because I declared my public support of Dr. Umar Johnson. This was back a couple years ago when I lived in Los Angeles, as I was working towards my PhD in clinical psychology. So I got a taste of that myself, and I see that, yo, it gets serious, right? And oftentimes, like, you don't really see the inner workings of the system until you're put in it, right? Like, people talk about, you know, racism and the system this and the system that, but there's levels to it, right? And I know that he's experienced that firsthand, and I've experienced it firsthand just by saying that I support him, and so I had to take legal action. It was just like a whole thing, right? And it's really war. It's political warfare, and it can get bloody, but it's more sophisticated sometimes than just shedding blood, right? Taking a person's life. People will go to some almost unbelievable lengths to try to destroy a mission, considering that Dr. Umar Johnson is set out to empower the black community, right, through educating people about their heritage and their identity and uniting black people across the diaspora. His vision, his mission is so multi-layered and it's so transformative, right? We're talking about it's so revolutionary. It's nothing like its kind. You think of all of the greats that came before him, and I'm going to get into this, right? I'm going to do my reaction to the video that he made today with respect to what's happening with his upcoming festival that's scheduled, I believe, on September 10th this year, 2022. And I have to say, it's going to happen, right? I think for him, he's kind of like very triggered. And when a person is emotionally triggered and he's so attached to this, right, he's put so much into this school, it's been a long time coming, that it kind of distorts your ability to think rationally and think clearly. So he's kind of like, you can see it like in here in the video I'm going to play, where he has those moments where he kind of has those brain farts and it's just like, okay, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do, I don't even know like what to make of this. You know, we're talking about a highly intelligent, highly analytical man, very astute man that is kind of like at a loss for words, right? We're talking about an orator of all people, right? He got his name just by speaking so eloquently, you know, to the black community and across the world. So for a person to be at a loss for words, such as himself, it's just like that, I think, is the mind-blowing, alarming part that resonated with me when I first clicked on this video and I saw it. So I'm about to go ahead and jump right in. But I felt saddened. I felt grief, you know, stricken like all over again. And I think it's these moments that actually draw us together. So we can't be so emotionally triggered and offset that we lose sight and faith, right, of what we're set out to do, knowing that there's no weapon formed against us shall prosper, right? And this is only going to bring people closer to him. I think sometimes we get caught up in our plan and our vision, and we don't see that there's a bigger plan beyond us, right? And we know that, you know, he is a character, right? He is a mechanism for change, right? He's being used to bring about change for the black community. He's an instrument. And sometimes the instrument can have an ego such that they lose sight of that there's a bigger mission beyond them, right? So it's bigger than them. And even just talking this out loud to see like, yo, everything is all going to work together. I don't think he sees it because he's like, he's in it, right? He's in the midst of it, right? It's happening to him, not to realize that, yo, everything is happening as it's supposed to happen in divine timing. And this is going to catapult him even further, right? This is actually a blessing. So let's go right ahead. Let's go right ahead. Of course, I have a lot to say, but let's just go right ahead. And I think I have the volume turned up. Aww. Hold on, let me say this though real quick. So even though, yes, he blocked me on Facebook, right, and I felt bad about it, it doesn't take away from how I feel, right, towards him and my commitment towards his mission. He's such a sweet person. Look at his eyes, like, oh. All right. I'm starting it from the very beginning. It's a 45-minute video.
Peace and Pan-Africanism. Peace and Pan-Africanism. Peace and Pan-Africanism. Good Garvey Day to my continental Africans. Good Garvey Day to my Africans in Europe.
He's sweating, but it is hot outside. I just came from out there.
Good Garvey Day to my Africans in Asia.
It's fucking
hot.
Good
Garvey Day to my Africans in Canada, in Australia, in the South Pacific. Good Garvey Day to my Africans in the Caribbean islands. Good Garvey Day to my Africans in South America, Central America. And of course, good Garvey Day to my fellow American Africans here in the belly of the beast. Good Garvey Day to my Texas Africans, my North Carolina Africans, my South Carolina Africans, my Nebraska Africans, my Illinois Africans, my Wisconsin Africans, Illinois Africans, Michigan Africans, California Africans, Arkansas Africans, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Boston, Maine, Vermont, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, New Jersey, Kentucky, Tennessee.
Say New Jersey twice.
New York. To all my American Africans. This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism coming to you with a very important message. This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism coming to you with a very important
I didn't see the entire thing. I just saw clips of it as I was listening to it. I was actually on the bus and the train listening. To you with a very unfortunate message.
Brothers and sisters, as you know, last year we hosted the first annual FDMG Academy Family Festival. It was spectacular.
Yes, it was.
It was amazing. It was unforgettable. Food, games, music, vendors, performers, a fashion show, a wedding scene, games for the children, awards. It was just a beautiful event. Well, I want you to know that that festival almost did not take place last year. And the reason that festival almost did not take place last year, is because of a young lady, a sister, who works in the special events office for the city of Wilmington, Delaware. Sister by the name of Miss Tiffany Christopher. And I use her name respectfully. Mrs. Christopher left for vacation a few days before the FDMG festival was scheduled to take place. And in leaving for vacation a few days before the FDMG festival was scheduled to take place, we almost did not have our festival. Although I had been in communication with this young lady for months, it took me forever to get in contact with her. It took her forever to respond to me. And although we were communicating for several months, she thought it was acceptable to go on vacation before submitting our permit. As a result of that, an attorney intervened on our behalf, and Ms. Christopher was forced to come back into work and issue the FDMG festival permit. Why did she go on break before giving us our permit? Why would you take a vacation knowing that this man, Dr. Umar, been trying to reach out to you for months to get his permit, which you would not give him, constantly coming up with excuses for why he couldn't get his permit, and then you go on vacation? Had it not been for that attorney intervening on our behalf, brothers and sisters, last year's festival would not have taken place. The morning of the festival, when we began setting up on September the 11th of 2021, that very morning, the police came to me as I was opening up the Nat Turner John Jacques Dessalines Gymnasium, and the police said, "We received the complaint that you are hosting a festival without a permit." The police approached me about 8, 9 o'clock in the morning on festival day, Saturday, September the 11th, and they said, "From our understanding, you do not have a permit to hold this festival." I opened my email and I showed them the event permit that Miss Tiffany Christopher had emailed me not more than 48 hours prior to the festival. Once again.
Pause right there. You know something was up, right? Like, you can tell when something is orchestrated. You can tell when something is orchestrated by the ops, yo. What the fuck? But let's keep going.
Attorney not intervened on our behalf, there would have been no festival last year, because the young lady in charge of issuing permits decided to go on vacation without issuing us our permit. So now we talk about why I am on the live today. Brothers and sisters, I am here to announce to you that there will likely be no festival on Saturday, September the 10th of 2022.
There's going to be a festival.
I am here to make you aware, brothers and sisters, that there will likely be no festival on Saturday.
Like I said, I think he's just thinking with this emotional brain right now. And I would be too. Like, that's an initial kind of gut reaction, like knee-jerk reaction, like, fuck. You know, and then almost nice to see like a way out of it, right? Of course, there's a way out of everything, but you know, I feel for my brother.
September the 10th of 2022.
I feel with
Let me
my
tell
brother.
you what happened this year. On May the 3rd, I emailed Miss Tiffany Christopher of the Special Events Office of the City of Wilmington, Delaware. I told her that it was our intent to hold our second annual FDMG Festival on Saturday, September the 10th. I did this on May the 3rd. She told me I would need to submit another application. Approximately around May the 15th, I submitted.
So apparently, for each event, you have to submit a separate application, right? It's not just because he hosted the event last year that application is standing for the following years. No.
An application. I did not hear from Mrs. Christopher, so I emailed her and asked her, did she get our application for a permit? She said she would get back in touch with me after Memorial Day. She did not get in touch with me after Memorial Day. Mrs. Christopher took 2 weeks to get in touch with me. She took 2 weeks to get in touch with me. She took 2 weeks to get in touch with me, and at least 3 weeks from the date we submitted the application. She took at least 3 weeks from the date we submitted the application. And that was this past Wednesday. She sent me an email this past Wednesday and said another organization had already submitted a request to hold.
That don't make no sense, but I'm gonna let this play out. But that don't make no sense. Already, that's bullshit. You can hear that's bullshit, right? If that was the case, why the fuck would she have him submit an application? But she's saying that, I guess she didn't know the date, presumably, right? She didn't know the date that he was requesting. When she finally looked at the application and processed it, she saw that the date had already been taken.
Hold a block party. I want y'all to listen to me, brothers and sisters. I hope we have some lawyers listening to this. I hope we have some conscious lawyers, some conscious activists. I'm hoping some of my brothers and sisters here in the city of Wilmington are listening to this. I'm hoping some of you who have experience working in city bureaucracy are listening to this.
And I have
this
a comment to say to this.
Mrs. Christopher sent me an email that said another organization has already requested to use the same location on the same day. I repeat, in Ms. Christopher's email sent this past Wednesday, she said another organization has already submitted a request to hold a block party in the same location at the same time. For those of you who have been to the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy, to those of you who are at the first...
Now, I've never been to FDMG, right? But having knowledge and information on how it works when you rent city blocks, keyword, city blocks, right? So he's going to go into talking about how he owns the building, right, that sits on top of the land. He owns that. He does not own the city blocks or the streets, shall we say, right? The actual streets belong to the city of Wilmington, Delaware. That's what the permit was for. To access, to utilize the streets, because he's hosting it in the street. But this is the catch, because the streets run through the property that he owns, right? He owns buildings that sit on the land, and it's multiple buildings, right? That sits, I don't know how many blocks he's saying, but it's like pretty much a whole damn block is FDMG, and I think it's what, 2 buildings essentially that he calls the Anna Douglas School and the FDMG Academy, or the Frederick Douglass building and the Marcus Garvey building. Correct me. Listen.
First festival last year. you know that the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy encompasses the entire block. We do not have any houses on our campus. We do not have any businesses on our campus. We are the only tenant. We are the only resident. We are the only property owner. We are the only occupant on the 600 block of East 17th Street in Wilmington, Delaware.
Right.
I repeat, we are the only tenant. We are the only property owner. We are the only occupant. We are the only resident on the 600 block of East 17th Street. Brothers and sisters, I need you to help me solve this problem. I need you to help me solve this mystery.
I think it's a minor
Who
problem.
would request to do
But I can
an
see,
event?
I can see his frustration though, right? Because it's like, what the fuck? He owns that property. He owns those buildings, and then some jackass, want to go. It's most likely an official, right? It's most likely an official, or it could just be one of his detractors or haters who's fueled by the system. I mean, he has, I'm not even going to mention this person's name, but she has a whole channel dedicated to tearing this man down, right? And destroying his mission. Clearly to no avail, because, yeah, I mean, he's still out here doing the good work. Leave it up to her. She would have him dead. She would wish for him to be dead, right? She would wish for the FDMG festival to not have happened last year. She would wish for the purchasing of those buildings to not have happened when it did. What year did that happen? Was it 2019? I know I was in Los Angeles when he purchased. I was so excited too. I made a video on it. But she would not have wished for that, right? Like, she just, anything, she's anti everything he stands for, essentially. So he's still out here doing the good work. But it could have easily been one of those people who have a whole campaign dedicated to destroying him and trying to tear him down. And the lengths that they go makes you think like they clearly got to be backed by some kind of ops.
Front of the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy on the very same date that we have already been advertising since last year's festival.
Right.
Who would request to do an event? Who would request a special event permit?
Reason why I say that, because this person has actually called and sabotaged event spaces that he's rented, and he sold tickets for, like, in advance, like universities and the other event spaces in various cities, locations. She will call and speak ill about this man to these people who hold the keys to these spaces. And they sometimes would listen and end up forcing him to cancel the event. Say, no, we don't want to do business with you, essentially. He owns this building, right? And I even asked myself this, like, okay, you have buildings, right? Granted, they're undergoing like remodeling and renovation. So from what I understand, last update that I learned about was he was preparing for the HVAC to be installed, right? So they can have cooling, especially now, summertime, heating, you know, when it gets cold, ventilation essentially. And I don't know where he is with that. But my thoughts is, why not just have it inside the school? Like, I would think that would be the best place to just have it inside the school. Get the shit fixed. Whatever needs to be fixed should be fixed. And I actually thought when he purchased the building, it was turnkey. I thought he purchased a turnkey commercial property where, okay, you purchase the building, you transfer those funds, sign off on the paperwork, and it's ready to go for operation. But apparently no. Like, it apparently needed work. and he sat on it for so long. People were going in, stealing wires and copper and bullshit out of there that's essential for the operation of that building. There was a fire, I think, on the property. Somebody had an accident. Some car ran into the building or something, and it's insane the things that have happened that have stalled the progress of the schools opening. And it's just like, the hell. If, like, why not? I would think that this should have been done sooner, right? Like, to drag it out so long and to receive an enormous amount of donations. Like, people are still sending him money. He, talks about people sending him gifts. A lot of women especially send him money and gifts. I know a guy who actually sends him regular donations. So it's just like, he's getting donations. But I'm just curious, like, why not use those donations to make the school operable, right? Bring it up to the standard that it needs to be, so that maybe not it can be operable for students to learn inside of it, but it's operable enough so you can host events, right? Like even the gymnasium, for example. The classrooms, you can host workshops, So I know there are different standards and codes depending on what you're utilizing the business for, right? If you're utilizing it for, let's say, a restaurant, that may have more stringent standards than if you're just opening it to sell books out of, So that's what I'm thinking, like, why not just have it on the inside, and all that money you're getting, just go ahead and pay to get the HVAC put in. And I follow him kind of intermittently. Like, I watch his videos kind of intermittently because I have my own life, that I'm living. And a lot of his videos are a bunch of like rhetoric. He's kind of saying the same thing over and over and over again. So it's like, it's not a new update. But what I've noticed is that in terms of the HVAC, he mentioned the HVAC person. He actually had an HVAC person to install the system. Had the money, he purchased the HVAC, but then somehow when the person was ready to deliver it, Dr. Umar was not in place. It's like, that didn't make sense to me. I was like, okay. I mean, I would think that something as important as an HVAC, which he had been complaining that it's been taking so long first of all, for him to find a black owned, because he wants to do everything black owned, right? All the contractors that he's working with, they have to be black owned. Everything is black owned. So you finally found this black-owned HVAC company, and they're ready to deliver. Like, why not be in place? But that's, to me, I don't know, it's confusing. I know when you're dealing with black-owned, like, we operate on a different timeline, right? We operate in a different dimension, Whereas, time may exist, right? We live in a certain space and time, but a lot of times certain black-owned businesses don't necessarily adhere to that, and they just kind of like do things willy-nilly, especially like in, let's say, smaller towns or smaller-owned businesses. So who knows? The guy probably just popped up like, "Hey, I'm ready. Where you at?" And then Dr. Umar Johnson was already in another state somewhere, making it really inconvenient for him just to cancel and drop everything he was doing and fly back to Wilmington, Delaware for him to install the HVAC. But even still, wouldn't you have someone on standby? Maybe not. The way I look at this operation, that it seems like it's major. You're talking about an institution, a school. Yes, you are the brainchild. Like, this school is the brainchild of you. Like, you are the brains behind the school. But at the same time, I would think when you have like a board of directors, committees, just people kind of just there, right? Doing a good significant portion of the work for you, so that you don't always have to be on the front lines necessarily. Of course, we know, like, the school is your manifestation. It's a reflection of your mind. It's your hands. It's the work of your hands. But you don't always have to be there at every step of the way necessarily, right? You can have other people in place, let's say, to be there when the contractors get there, right? So that they can open the doors to school and take care of the business. But that's just my thoughts. I just feel like this is a good learning, example, right? A person can write a whole book. You can teach a whole class on just looking at what is going well, what went well for this, and things that you can learn from, like things that he could have done differently. This is my take. Let's continue.
Of our school, where they are not located, where they do not live, where their business does not exist, who would try to hold a festival on our block in front of our school on the same date we requested, Saturday, November the 10th?
September.
I told Mrs. Christopher by email, this made no sense whatsoever. I then requested that Mrs. Christopher provide me with the name and the contact details of this mystery organization. I requested that Mrs. Tiffany Christopher provide me with the name and contact details of this mystery organization that wants to hold a block party in front of the FDMG Academy on the same date that we
who the fuck else could it be? Ain't nobody. Listen, ain't no random organization is wanting to host no goddamn festival, right? Like, why there, of all places? Unless, because he did say that the school sits near the Boys and Girls Club, I think, right? So unless they may want to use not only those streets that run through the FDMG Academy, but other surrounding streets too, right? So it's not just about, they're trying to occupy the space that we use, right, for our festival, but it could be like other streets. Because he did mention, like I said, it sits near the Boys and Girls Academy. Let's
told me she will not give me that information. I then responded to her, why do we not have a right? We are the property owners of this facility. This entire block belongs to us.
Except for the streets.
Are you telling me we don't have a right to know who is trying to...
I feel like that's an easy fix, right? Like, number one, if you want to see, okay, because usually it won't be the first time unless it is their first time. So this is a group of people, organization, who's wanting to rent these streets, right? These city streets that run through his property. They've probably done it before. Like, have you Googled to see other festivals? Have you reached out to the Boys and Girls Club to see, like, okay, is this something that they've been doing? Like, you got to think outside of yourself to see that, okay, maybe you're not the first person that hosted a festival running through these streets that your school sits on, right? Maybe other people, other organizations have hosted previous events, and maybe you disrupted or interrupted their annual festivals that they've been hosting. Have you looked at things that way? So, yes, he's a character, and he, of course, has character flaws that I think are worth looking at. I did a video when I was back in LA on psychoanalyzing Dr. Umar Johnson, right? And I talked about, like, you know, his character flaws. You know, he's a whole personality. I love him, but it's just like, yeah, even as it relates to the whole child support, the two baby mamas, right? And the two separate grown women now. These are women. Well, actually one is, I think. The other one, I think she's approaching womanhood. But he has two girls. So, you know, no one is perfect, but sometimes it's worth taking a look at oneself, right? Especially if you're going to be a prototype and a model for people to look up to. You know, sometimes it's worth just saying, like, damn, is it me? You know, if you're making these mistakes, ask yourself, like, am I doing something wrong? That takes a bit of maturity. And I've mentioned this before. Sometimes people can amass a certain degree of success, fame, popularity, which I wouldn't say he's famous necessarily, but he has a degree of popularity, right? Especially on social media, that it can get to a person's head, you know, and it produces a surplus of, let's say, dopamine, right? That can interfere with a person's own judgment and making decisions. So, yeah, that's worth That's worth consider. That's a perspective that's worth considering. Let's continue.
To have a festival in front of our school on the very date we've been advertising for almost a whole year. She told me she cannot even tell me who was trying to hold the festival. She also told me that the festival for which the permit was requested on September the 10th by this mystery organization has not been approved. Well, Mrs. Tiffany Christopher.
It has not. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not to say that he is right, he's wrong. It's just to explore all different perspectives, right? That's called critical thinking. You know, and being an executive of any company or organization, like, you have to make very critical, well thought out, calculated decisions, many decisions. And in doing so, you're making an informed, well calculated, well thought out decision. Like, you have to just slow down and consider different perspectives before you jump. That doesn't just relate or apply to being a good, executive of a company, or a good decision maker, but that's just being a good political leader, right? Making smart, well-informed political moves. Yeah.
If the request has not been approved, why can't you give me the name and number of the people?
So this person's request has not been approved, but he's already jumping the gun and catastrophizing the situation to say that the FDMG festival may not happen. I'm getting a little bit Drama King vibes here, Like, I mean, I get it. A lot is at stake, and you've, made this announcement and you promoted this event, and, thousands of people are expecting to show up. But we're in June. The festival is in September. 3 months. That's sufficient time. If, I say worst case scenario, push come to shove, if you have to, that's enough time, ample time to find another location if you have to, right? But I get it, like, time is of essence and you want to make sure that things are properly planned. But, shit happens. You've seen events. I'm talking about major events. You may have to move locations. They've done this. People have done this where they had to move a location for an event the day of. Damn near, the day before. At the drop of a dime, it just happens, It just goes to show, like, your level of flexibility and adaptability to situations and various factors that you can't control, right? You just have to just be flexible. And that just makes you a stronger person. That makes you a stronger leader, business person, because you're talking about business. This is like business. There are so many things, so many moving parts and unpredictable variables that can change at the drop of a dime, and you have to be able to maneuver. That's just what it takes, He's a lecturer, and that's only one aspect of being self-employed, but being a business owner and being executive of an organization, it takes a lot. So that's why people recognize that when you are this executive, right, this owner of an organization, you have to diffuse some of that responsibility and share it to other people that you trust, obviously, and you build that trust with, you build those connections with, right? And that takes, humility. That takes you taking a look at yourself to figure out, okay, what is interfering with my ability to be able to develop and sustain business relationships, right? With people, right? What is wrong? What is going on, right? Not to put the blame all on yourself, but just to be honest, to take a reflective look at yourself.
Requesting the permit so I can find out who is trying to sabotage the FDMG festival. Mrs. Tiffany Christopher already tried to sabotage the festival last year by going on vacation before she issued the permit. Miss Tiffany
So
Christopher
trying to
already tried to
sabotage or just
sabotage
negligent
the
and
festival last
unprofessional,
year
not really
by
giving a
going
damn.
on vacation before she
He did say
issued
she's
her
black,
permit.
not to say all black people
And now you're
ghetto,
telling me
unprofessional, but
that another organization that you refuse to name,
saying though.
a mystery person, a mystery man, a mystery woman, a mystery organization wants to hold a festival on our campus, and we don't have a right to know who they are. Brothers and sisters, I am so tired of being sabotaged by my people. Sister Tiffany Christopher is a black
think about it. It's
Sister,
legally and ethically, I think she's doing her due diligence by not disclosing that person's name who put in their request to host a festival, an outdoor event on those streets, the same streets that you went to on the same day, right? Because if you choose to take that information and go and cause harm to this person or this entity or organization, whoever the fuck it is, who is that gonna fall back on? You're talking about some serious potential consequences here, right? So, yes, she's smart. You can't be so quick to jump the gun to say, okay, it's foul play. Though I'm leaning more towards foul play because it's like, what are the chances? But I think it's important to consider other alternatives, like I already just mentioned, right? So let's continue.
Tiffany Christopher is a black woman. Why is this black woman? Why is our sister? Why is this beautiful black woman sabotaging the second annual FDMG festival? Why will she not even tell me who's trying to sabotage the festival by requesting a date on the same date that we are requesting? Brothers and sisters, this is the day 4 of the Pan-African fast. Brothers and sisters, this is day 4 of the Pan-African fast. Brothers and sisters, this is day 4 of the Pan-African fast, and I am exhausted. I am tired. I have been fighting to build this school for 3 years. Not only do I have to fight racism, I got to fight people in the city of Wilmington who sabotage what I try to do, write tickets against the school when no ticket should be wrote. I have a whole story to tell. But I don't understand why my sister, Miss Tiffany Christopher, would do this to us. I don't know this woman. I've never seen this woman. But I do know that she is a black woman. Why would you do this?
You damn sure ain't about to get a permit now. Okay, so we're 13 minutes in of this 45-minute video. You know that you got people that micromanage your every single slightest move, right? So, of course, they are watching this. They've already seen the damn video. They probably was on a live. They already reached out to Tiffany, okay? Like, made her fully aware that you made the video about her. And you know that if they hate us, right? And they going and they contacting these venues that you host events at, right? They're going to go and contact her. You know they're going to spin it. You know they're going to put their own little twist and their own little seasoning on that shit, right? To make her deathly afraid of you and paint you as this diabolical demon. So, you know damn well she damn sure ain't about to sit up here and grant you permission to host the festival on those city streets of Delaware. Now, with that, right? Because he's kind of trying to problem solve, right? He's devastated. He's frustrated. You know, he's heartbroken. He feels betrayed. Just all these, emotions, right? But essentially, he's in problem solve mode, right? Trying to problem like how can we fix this issue. So what came to my mind was, okay, worst case scenario, you're not able to host it on those streets at that particular location this year, 2022. But there's always next year. And if you see how they do stuff, why not just be prepared, right? I don't know if he has the ability to, let's say, reserve the space in advance for 10 consecutive years, and you know that's just going to be where you're going to be at, then do so. right? Or at least try to establish a good working relationship with people, right? But when you burn bridges, you burn bridges, you know? Doesn't mean you gotta kiss ass, but you can't think that, okay, you're just entitled to have this space, being uninformed and uneducated about how it works. Yes, you own the buildings that sit on that land, but you do not own those streets that run through. So,
application almost a month ago. You wait 3 weeks. You wait 3 weeks only to tell me that somebody else, who would dare request an event in front of our school on the day of our school? Brothers and sisters,
the day of your event.
let me tell you what I think is going to happen.
And so you know he's not thinking
Brothers
rationally.
and sisters,
His words are all
let me tell
up,
you what I think is going to
screwed up.
happen. Brothers and sisters, let me tell you what I think is going to happen. I think Mrs. Christopher is obviously in cahoots with these people, because it would take nothing for her to say Dr. Johnson. It would take nothing for her to say Dr. Umar. It would take nothing for her to say Dr. Ifa Tunde. Here's the number to the organization requesting September 10th to hold an event in front of your school. You might want to give them a call and see if you could get them to switch their date. Why not give me the opportunity to talk to this mystery organization? Why not give me an opportunity to talk to this mystery organization to see if I could get them to change their date? Brothers and sisters, if you don't understand how ridiculous this is, brothers and sisters, if you don't understand how ridiculous this is.
Yes, it is ridiculous, right? But if you are familiar with the way business goes, right? And so, apart from the lens, right, of looking through the lens of, okay, there's a hater, these are haters, these are ops, right? Because like I said, there's different ways to look at it. And of course, that was my kind of initial reaction. Of course, I'm siding with him because I love me some Dr. Umar. I still do. Nothing can come in between that, right? However, like me being a rational person, I like to look at things. I'm a very analytical thinker, critical thinker. I look at things through different lenses, right? So aside from looking at it through a lens of, okay, oh, these are people trying to attack me and destroy what I built and all of this, it got to be them. You have to open your eyes to how business goes. It ain't got shit to do with haters. You can have no haters, right? You can just be a business person, be in business, and you will see that's how business operates. You know, that's competition. They can see, okay, oh, so-and-so just opened up. And you have a lot of like comedy skits, right, that have been made. A lot of movies that showcase this very example where it could be a barbershop opened up, right? And the barbershop is doing good. You know, they got customers coming in, just like burgeoning with success, right? Busting with success, people coming in and out. And then somebody always going to be sitting there watching. Going to be a person coming in to patronize the barbershop, get their hair cut, but they see like, oh, this motherfucker eating. Like, oh, okay. Not even, it ain't no hater shit. It's just business. And they say, all right, I'm going to go ahead and open up a barbershop across the street, right? And I think it was a movie on this, right? And they have fucking fish in the floor and all kind of little bells and whistles that they put into it to steal that person's, you know what I'm saying, steal that person's fire, right? What make you think that you being in business is any different? And you hosting this festival that obviously had a great turnout in this particular location, perhaps it could be that, right? Like somebody's just, it's competition. It's your competition. One way of looking at it.
We don't have any neighbors. We have no immediate neighbors. This isn't like we shared a block with another company. This isn't like we shared a block with another family.
People are watching
we
you.
own all of the property on the 600 block of East 17th Street. We own all of the property on the 600 block of East 17th Street.
I'm gonna give me some.
We own all of the property on the I can't even think.
Can't even think. See?
On the 600 block of East 17th Street.
Cause he's mad. He's
And
speaking
what I
from
think is going to
an
happen,
emotional brain.
because I'm going to be out there on September 10th. Those of you who are supporters and donors, and we are not going to start no trouble, but I want to see, I want to look the person in the face who deliberately took out an event permit on the date that we planned to have an event in front of our school. You have no reason to have an event on the FDMG campus. You have no reason to have an event on the FDMG campus.
Got a point, like who would?
What I think is going to happen, I don't think the person who did this wants to face me. I don't think the person who did this wants to face our donors and supporters. I don't think the person who did this wants to become known. I believe that a few days before September 10th, they are going to withdraw their request for an event. I believe a few days before September the 10th, they are going to withdraw their request for an event. I believe
Possibly.
a few days before September the 10th of 2022,
I think that'd be even
the
worse.
day that should have been ours, I believe
I'd rather them host the event.
whoever did this is going to withdraw their requests. For those of you who want to join me, for those of you who want to join me, for those of you who want to join me, I will be at FDMG, at your school, at my school, at our school, on Saturday, September 10th, to see who sabotaged our festival.
I just find it weird considering he got this information from Tiffany, he said her name was, who works for the city of Delaware, saying that someone else put a request in, but their request has not been approved. And you already jumping the gun to say that the festival won't happen, that your festival won't happen because their request was submitted. That doesn't mean, if their request has not been approved, it just means that you're not the only one who submitted a request. So now she has to make a decision, maybe with her team, who they're going to grant the request to. Is it going to be you or is it going to be this other person? If their request has not been approved, but if you jump in the gun, then you're going to, I mean, think about it. If you jump in the gun to go and make this video about her, she's going to see it. Either she's going to feel bad for your ass and say, all right, there you go, take the goddamn permit. Or, she'll be like, hell no, I'm going to give it to this other person. Or just the universe will decide.
Now, some people would say, why not choose another date? I don't think y'all understand. I don't think
That's
y'all understand. This is our block. This is our property. If they do this to us today,
Did you
they'll
buy
do
the
this
street?
to us tomorrow. They can
Did
do
you
this
buy
to
the
us at
street?
any
I don't think
time
you
in
bought
the
the
future
street now.
once the school is up and running. Brothers and sisters.
I don't know, because I know he did mention that he wanted to name the street after Frederick Douglass or whatever. But even if you name it, that's still a dedication. That don't mean you own the street, right? You still, that's the reason you got to get a permit, because you don't own it. The city is granting you permission to use it for a specified time frame. If you got to get permission from somebody to motherfucking utilize a space, that does not mean that you own it. If you own something, you don't need no permission.
And sisters, you are supposed to get signature from 70% of the affected parties in order to have a block party in Wilmington, Delaware. If you go to the special events website and download the application, if you go to the special events website and download the application, you will see that they require 70% signatures from the people who will be affected
you might be that 30%
by your festival. The Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy, we are the only people who can be affected by this festival.
Not really.
Because we are the only people on
The
the block.
residents.
How can they be given permission for an event when they
Boys
didn't
and Girls
get our
Club.
signature? How can they be given permission for the event when they didn't get our signature? How can they be given permission for the event when they didn't even get our signature? We are being sabotaged by Miss Tiffany Christopher, and we are being sabotaged by this unknown hater. So on September 10th, I'm going to find out who the unknown hater is. We are considering the next day, Sunday, September the 11th.
That's probably even better.
We are considering the next day, Sunday,
That's when
September
they had
the
it
11th.
last year.
We are considering
They had it
the
on
next day,
9/11.
Sunday, September the 11th. But
Keep it with the same
I
date,
wanted to do the
9/11.
festival on Saturday to give brothers and sisters a chance to get back home so they can go to work the next day.
People still gonna show up
To get back
regardless.
home so they can take care of business.
They'll just take
on
off
the next day.
Monday. You can take off Monday.
I encourage my supporters and donors, reach out to the city of Wilmington. Reach out to the mayor. Tell the mayor and be respectful.
And that's your opportunity
I'm
to have a whole
asking you to be
protest and get
respectful.
more
I'm asking you to
recognition
be
and
respectful.
publicity for your.
And
That's
I'm
what I
only
would do.
asking supporters and donors. I'm asking you to be.
Hey, I would take this shit to the streets, protest, and get the news involved. I notify every news station locally and blow this shit up. They'll give his ass the recognition. I don't even think he contacted the news station when he did the festival last year, but he should have got them to come out to interview him and to broadcast the festival. Why not? I did it for mine when I hosted the Bible Book Convention in New York.
Professional, and I'm asking you to be respectful.
They'll come out.
Call the mayor and ask the mayor, why is this possible? How can someone have a festival in front of our school without our permission? How can somebody have a festival without our signature? Why don't we have a right to know who is
But
trying
they
to
say
have a
permission
festival
has not been
in front of our school?
granted.
Aren't there
Maybe I think he's jumping
liability
the gun,
issues?
y'all.
Aren't there liability issues letting someone have a festival in front of a campus that's being renovated? What if they cause damage to our property? What if they litter our property? We don't have a right to know who's going to occupy our block. We don't have a right to
They
know
don't have a right to be on your
who can
property.
litter
They have a right
our
to be
block.
on
We
the
don't have a right
block,
to
on
know
the street.
who's going to be occupying our block in case they do damage to our property. Yes, we have cameras. We have cameras. The school is under surveillance. But you're telling me we don't have a right to know who this is beforehand? Brothers and sisters, Tiffany Christopher is the Marketing and Special Projects Coordinator. Ms. Tiffany Christopher is the Marketing and Special Projects Coordinator, Office of the Mayor, Cultural Affairs. Marketing and Special Projects Coordinator, Office of the Mayor, Cultural Affairs. Phone number 302-576-2138. Phone number 302-576-2138. Her mobile number 302-530-6299. 302-530-6299.
What it said, 39.
In her last message, this is what she said. At 1 o'clock today, Mrs. Tiffany Christopher said to me, Dr. Johnson,
Child.
this will be my last email. Any further questions, contact my director, Miss Tina Betts.
People
I
already
need y'all
pissed
to
the damn
also
lady
call
off.
Miss Tiffany Christopher's director, Mrs. Tina
Prematurely.
Betts. B-E-T-Z. B-E-T-Z, Mrs. Tina Betts. T-Betts at wilmingtonde.gov. The letter T, B-E-T-Z at wilmingtonde.gov. Mrs. Tiffany Christopher's email is tdchristopher. T as in Tiffany, D as in I don't trust you, DT Christopher at wilmingtonde.gov.
Damn well.
Her final email says,
Y'all ain't getting the permit
this will be
now.
my last email. Any further questions, please contact my director.
For her to say it's my
She
last
listed
email,
5
they was
points.
going back and forth.
Number 1, organizations have events on blocks that they don't occupy all the time. Organizations have events on blocks that they don't occupy all the time. Organizations have events on blocks they don't occupy all
Anybody
the
can
time.
rent the street to have a block
What
party.
organization wants an event in front of a school that's being renovated? What organization
it's off in
wants
the
an
cut.
event in front of a
It
school
ain't about it, the
that's
school being renovated. It could just be that it's a prime location, knowing that not too much traffic gonna be flowing through that way anyway, right? You know, it's just like picking an area where it's not that traffic. Not too much traffic is already flowing through on a regular day anyway. So it's easy to set up in that way. It's easy to get it blocked off, easy way to set up. Could be a good location, you know, as opposed to getting a permit to host a block party or a festival, whatever the event is, let's say in a residential where you know you got houses, you know what I'm saying? They look at that could be a prime location. That's all that is.
That they do not own. Number 2.
Possibly.
In my previous email, she says, I stated why I will not provide their contact information. In my previous email, I already stated why I will not provide their contact information. Her previous email says she's not allowed to give me their information. Right. I think everybody knows that's a lie. In her previous email, she says she's not allowed to give me their organization. I think we all know that's a lie. Number 3, I never guaranteed approval for their event. I never guaranteed approval for their event.
See?
I never guaranteed approval for their event. Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you a question? If she never guaranteed approval for their event, and you know that we were planning to have an event on our campus on that date, why not go through the approval right now?
She fucking with
why
you.
is she hesitating?
Fucking with
Mrs. Christopher, why are you stalling? If you did not give them a permit, right, that means we should be able to have our festival. So why are you asking me? Why are you asking me to choose another date if they were not approved? Why are you asking me to choose another date if this mystery organization has not even been approved? It don't make no sense. Why not go through the process and find out if they're going to be approved?
If she asked him to choose another date, she's saying that she hasn't even approved this other organization, but she's implying that she's not going to approve you for that particular date because maybe they already leaning more towards the other organization granting approval for them on that date and not you. That's why she's suggesting you choose another date. So yeah, she's showing favoritism against you, right? In favor of this mystery entity that somehow out of nowhere just requested to utilize that same space on the same date. But with that, I think you gotta get together too, because from what I understand, and from one of the videos that he made recently, he owes back taxes. He's collecting money from people to pay off the property taxes that is amounted over like 6 figures, yo. Like, and it still just keeps increasing. Now, to my understanding, if he had registered this property, his entity essentially, as a non-profit, he wouldn't have to pay taxes. But he's having to pay taxes on a business that ain't even running. Think about that. He's paying taxes, property taxes, I believe. Can't be business taxes, but it could be business taxes. Just makes you wonder, like, okay, what's really going on? Is it property taxes or business taxes? Those are two different things. And we know business taxes is based on the amount of revenue that a business is bringing in. Right? And he's saying, he gave the breakdown on how much he owes in taxes for each building. So I'm assuming, okay, it's property taxes, right? But it's just like, damn. Why? What's going on? If it was properly registered, then he wouldn't have to Yeah, but he didn't do
Why
the
are you
registration
not trying to
as a
find out, Miss
nonprofit
Tiffany Christopher, if this
501c3.
organization's event is going to be approved? So you're telling me that this organization may not even get an approval, but we can't request the date. You're telling me this organization may not even get an approval, but we can't request the date. You're telling me that this organization may not even get an approval.
Let me say this.
But
I don't think he should be the one having communication when it comes to coordinating, releasing spaces or renting, getting a permit. I don't think he should be the one. You have organizations that hire people. Not to say he's not a good communicator, because clearly he is, but his type of communication is for a specific cause, right? And I said this to him about how I like the delivery of his message, like just fire. That shit pierce your soul. You can't help but feel it, right? Speaking so unapologetically. He needs that delivery and speaking to his target audience. But when it comes to taking care of business matters, it's a certain way you got to communicate and interact with people. Yes, you have to be assertive, right? Because we're talking about business. So yes, you can't be in a passive and, oh, can I get... No, you have to assert what it is that you want. But he is a little bit beyond assertive, right? We know that clearly with his delivery. And I can only imagine they're like, oh, hell no. Keep that energy, right? A lot of people don't respond well to that kind of forcefulness. Especially when it comes to business, because they feel like, okay, you're not entitled. We don't owe you anything, essentially. Even if the permit does cost money, which I'm sure it has to, and they have to put down some kind of deposit if and when they are approved. But yeah, it's people that you could hire for that. It's people that you can hire to do community relations work, right? And to, do contracting work, talking to the contractors, talking to media personality, like it's different, certain kind of people that you have for certain roles that will be best served in those roles, aside from you doing it.
Can't request the date. Then she says,
The date.
I don't know you or the event organizers. Did y'all hear that, brothers and sisters? Did y'all hear that, brothers and sisters?
Well,
Did y'all hear that?
What you do.
She said,
you got to use what you know, right? You got to play the system play by their rules. Use they shit against them. In society, if society favors a certain type of voice, right? That high pitched, softened voice, damn near sound whitish. Not to say that black people can't be educated, right, and sound educated, but there's a certain pitch to white people's voice. Their voice sounds different than our voice. Even if we are educated, such as myself, their voice, you can hear a black voice versus a white sounding voice, right? It's a different tone. It's a different vibration that comes with it. Why not use that to your advantage, right? Play upon they shit. Like they say, this is chess, not checkers, and hire you a black person, right? Of course, who's about the business of being black, but they got that kind of voice, you know what I'm saying, that resonates, right? Use that voice, or they got that certain kind of look, It just takes some time to taste that.
You or the event organizers, brothers and sisters, who believes Tiffany Christopher doesn't know who Dr. Umar Johnson is? Who believes that Miss Tiffany...
I think this is part of his this is part of his egocentric attitude, right? Thinking that everybody knows him. Everybody don't know you. In fact, I just learned about that Umar Johnson in 2014 when I met my ex-partner. He introduced me to him through the Hidden Colors documentary series. I knew nothing about who this man was, right? And I consider myself pro-black, and I've been that way for many, many years, if not all my damn life, pretty much, right? So, if I didn't know who you was, and I've never met you, and he's a psychologist, right? And I've run circles amongst many psychologists, and I'm mentioning your name, and they don't even know who you are. Like, not everyone knows who you are. You know, I think sometimes he let it go to his head because he's been on like mainstream radio stations like the Breakfast Club. But, you know, you think about it, the Breakfast Club, yes, it's like, you know, there's some crossover. There's been a lot of dignitaries that have appeared on the Breakfast Club. But there are a lot of people who still, you know, it still reaches a very niche audience, right? There are people who don't even know who the hell Beyonce is. And just think about that mass appeal that she has, right? Like everybody, like you'll think everyone knows who she is, right? The crossover that she has in her music, but no, not everyone knows who she is. I've mentioned her name and people like, who is that? Not every single person. You're talking about the world that has billions of people. Not everybody know who you are.
Christopher doesn't know who Dr. Umar Johnson is. Who
but she know now.
That Miss Tiffany Christopher doesn't know who Dr. Umar Johnson is.
Yeah, she know now.
She says, I call it doing my job. I call it doing my job. If the situation was different, I would be doing the same thing for your organization. Brothers and sisters, I am tired. We just got scammed by another contractor. We just got scammed by another contractor. A brother who I thought I could trust.
That's
we gave
hurtful.
him money
it's hurtful.
to repair the plumbing, and he didn't do it. We got scammed by another black contractor. And this contractor plans to run for mayor of the city of Philadelphia.
You lie. I know you
This
fucking
contractor
lying.
plans to run for mayor
lying.
of the city of Philadelphia.
I know you.
I can't wait until he declares his candidacy. I can't
Yo,
wait
I know
until
you
he
fucking
declares his
lying,
candidacy,
yo.
because I am going to go live. I'm going to beat the streets in Philadelphia. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure his ass gets no votes for stealing money from the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. Today,
running for the mayor of Philly. Now, granted, a lot of people can run for the mayor. I don't mean they ain't gonna make it to that level, right? Like I came across just random Joe Schmoes in New York City saying they're running for mayor. They never made it. They're nowhere near close. But you know, because I can say I want to run. Anybody can say they want to run for mayor. So who the fuck
is
knows?
not a good day.
But,
Tiffany Christopher is
Yo.
working with a hater to sabotage our festival. And another black contractor, a plumbing contractor,
I know you fucking
plumbing
lying.
contractor from the city of Philadelphia has scammed us out of the plumbing repairs. Wow.
There's a plot twist. The plot thickens.
What a way to start my Pan-African fast. What a way to start the 21-day
This is a whole
Pan-African
movie right
fast.
here, yo. Somebody need to make a
way
freaking
to
documentary on this man's life, for real.
The 21-day Pan-African fast. It was a licensed contractor. I'm going to block you because you don't even know what you're talking about. I'm so tired of people talking out their backside. You don't even know what you're talking about. You got to be licensed to do the work. You got to be licensed. But brothers and sisters, we might do the 11th, but I think I'm tired. Brothers and sisters, we might do the 11th, but I think I'm tired. I think I'm going to just cancel the festival
Altogether?
and focus on the renovations this year. I think I'm going to just cancel the festival and focus on the renovations this year. I want to know what you think. I want to know what you think. I want to know what you think. Of course we can take them to court. Court takes time, and we're not going to get our money back in a timely manner. Of course.
He's tired. Number one, he's fasting. That's number one. He's fasting. Then this happens. On top of all the other shit that he had to overcome, yo. Like fighting for his credentials as a school psychologist in Pennsylvania. And him petitioning to purchase other properties and being, you know, the property being sold to another interested buyer. It's just like setback after setback after setback after setback, right, for him. It's like he can't get a break. He buys the school, And then still they're sabotaging the school, right? People breaking into the school, stealing things from the school. It never ends. It's just ongoing. It's like, what do you expect, right? Knowing that the magnitude of what he's building, you know you're going to have people trying to tear that shit down, which means it requires that much more support from people. Real support. You know that you need the backing of the community, the black community. You cannot do this by yourself. And not just the elderly black community, because a lot of his supporters are people who are around his age group, right? He's in his 40s. You need the young people. Imagine if he had like every young black person from middle school on up through high school and college backing him, right? As hard as they go for all these rappers that's coming out. Like, just imagine, and granted, he does a lot of work, you know, with the youth, with the college tours, but that's only a very niche group of people, very small demographic, y'all. You know, it's hard, I think. It's really hard for him to manifest, and for him to say that he is this close to giving up and wanting to cancel his baby. The festival. This is like year 2. This is something he just created. This is the second year. This will be the second year for his festival. And for him to reach a point where he's just feeling so downtrodden, so beaten, like he is being sucked of his energy. He has nothing left to really give anymore. There's really no fight left in him, essentially. He's willing to surrender and throw up the white flag. You heard him. He said it.
I can take them to court, and we will take them to court. But court takes time, and we're not going to get our money back in a timely manner. But what do you know? You're just an Instagram troll. But what do you know? You're just an Instagram troll. But what do you know? You're just an Instagram troll. Brothers and sisters, I want to know what y'all think. Should we try to go for Sunday, September the 11th? Should we try to go for Sunday, September the 11th? I know you ain't paying no money to the city for the permit. Should we try to go for Sunday?
It don't work that way.
September the 11th. Let me know your thoughts. Text me. 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858.
I can say this, though, before I forget, that I have experience in doing business with the city, so to speak. Granted, I've hosted our very first Ubawa Book Convention back in Atlanta at the Georgia International Convention Center. It's a convention center, right? It's really, I would say, is that state. Who owns that? Who owns the JIC? But anyway, I did that, and I didn't have any problems necessarily in contracting and doing business with them. I paid damn near $4,000 to rent that space for 6 hours to host a literary event. I rented out the Bronx Museum to host the second annual Ubawa Book Convention, and that's through the Bronx, right? It's the Bronx Museum. Who owns that museum? Is it the city? I believe so. Our third Ubawa Book Convention took place in Los Angeles. It was actually through a private vendor. Really nice space. But before I decided upon that space in Los Angeles through this private vendor, I actually had my eyes set out on a city space in Los Angeles. It was at a city park, but the park had like a community center, which I thought was perfect. Great location. I was talking with a person similar to this situation, talking with this person that's supposed to coordinate with me to get this permit set up, and she was telling me this is what I need to do, this and the other. And it's like, as you begin to explain, you know, what it's about, and they've already are working with you, but then they want to fall back and say, oh no, well, somebody else. Like, this is nothing new. So when he's talking about this, it's like, okay, I've heard this before. For me, it hurts, it kind of stings, but if you're so driven, right, you're so driven to make something happen, and you're talking about an event with people who've already given you their money or going to give you their money to hold a spot, to reserve a space, right? They're the ones paying for it. You're just the face of the event, essentially. You're the coordinator. You're the organizer of the event. And you know that you have a passion. This is what you want to do. You don't get so downtrodden about one no. But I think for him, it hurts. It stings so bad because in his mind, like, that's his space. That's his block. And he said that so many times where he truly believes that every inch, every centimeter of that space, that block belongs to him, including the streets. And that's not really how it goes. That's just not how it goes. Hell, we don't even own the fucking air. You know what I'm saying? Like, you may own a building on a particular land, but who controls the air? They even control the air. They can tell you, okay, you can't fly those drones right there above your own space, right? So little things like that, it's like it's important to know the law and know how people just operate in business. We do shicey shit like that, right? Like I said, they can be in communication with you and say, okay, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Like, we would love to host you here. And it get to the point where it's time to really do the paperwork, and it's like, oh, but wait, and this, or oh, but wait, and this, and but this, and but kind of thing. It's just like, all right, it can be discouraging because you think things are just supposed to fall in place and go as you plan or expect, and it doesn't go that way, unfortunately. It's frustrating. It's annoying, and you're like, you know what, I have this energy I can be using towards something else, as he just said. Just using that towards building the actual school. Investing in the actual repairs for the school so they can get the school closer to opening.
215-989-9858. I'm going to have a special meeting with the FDMG festival team and get their thoughts. I'm going to have a special emergency meeting with the members of the FDMG festival team and get their thoughts on this. But I'm tired. I am so tired. I can't believe after 3 years we can't find a decent black plumber to do the work and not rip us off. I can't believe after 3 years we can't find a decent black electrician to do the work and not rip us off. I can't believe after 3 years we can't find a decent black HVAC tech to do the work and not rip us off. Our HVAC unit for the small school been sitting in storage since November. Our HVAC unit for the small school been sitting in storage since November. Our HVAC unit for the gym will be here next month. Our HVAC unit for the gym will be here next month. If there's any black men or women out there who give a damn about black kids, if there's any black men or women out there who give a damn about black kids, and you are licensed and you are willing to get your paperwork transferred over to the city of Wilmington in the state of Delaware, please get in contact with me. We only have 3 weeks of renovations. We only have 3 weeks of renovations. This plumber took 2 months, didn't finish the job, and ran off without money. This plumber took 2 months. He said it would take 2 weeks. This plumber took 2 months. He said it would take 2 weeks. This plumber took 2 months, said it would take 2 weeks, and then he ran off with the money, said they're not going to finish the job. Brothers and sisters,
I think that's the reason why the person on his live who commented, who he just blocked, and they said that person wasn't licensed. Okay, you're saying that a license, do you know that a person who has a license in whatever profession that they're licensed in, they're held to certain standards. So this person is acting out of his profession, right, or out of his ethical code, then he can be reported for that. I don't think a person who works so hard to attain any given license in whatever profession that they get it in or they have it in, I don't think they're just going to be going out there just being irresponsible. Not to say that you don't have that, but knowing that you're going to be held accountable, right? He shouldn't be on the front lines having this conversation with the actual contractors, right? You get people to handle your dirty work for you. So if that means having to first have a conversation, try to work it out with the plumber, whatever that issue is, it's called problem solving, right? There are going to be problems that arise in any kind of situation. We got to know how to problem solve and work things out to come to a compromise or an agreement, whatever that is. If that can't be done, then okay, you may have to take it to the next step, right? And contact the licensing board. that issued this person their permit, their license, and whatever this profession is, and plumbing, whatever, HVAC, whatever it is, and file a complaint and let this person know that this is the step I'm about to take. But he should not be doing that, because then you create, like, you burn so many bridges, right? And it's just, I think it's just a matter of professionalism, right? So that you just want to make sure that you try to take the path of trying to work things out with people first. You know, you don't always have to be, okay, this person is a hater, or they're out to get me, they're out to destroy me, and, you know, like, you don't always have to be that way. You don't want to create that kind of blood between people where then you don't really have no bridges and everybody look at you like, you know what I'm saying, you're the problem, right? You don't want that. You know, and it's becoming that, and word spreads very quickly. You know that, especially in the black community, you know. So, and Delaware is fucking small. I mean, you don't want it to get to the point where nobody want to fucking work with you. My thing is, I find it funny, though, because I live in New York City. And this is the most immigrated place here in the United States, right? Considering all these immigrants, illegal, shall I emphasize, immigrants that take jobs. Somehow there are ways that these immigrants are able to, and I don't have anything against immigrants, I'm just putting it out there, like laying the chips as they are. They have a way, they're protected. They got companies, yo. They got organizations that protect immigrants. And even though they come here illegally and they're here in this country illegally, they find them work. And even though they probably ain't making that much money, but they get the job done. I'm talking about Africans, Mexicans. They got good hands. They're very skilled workers. How is that can happen here? And you talking about these immigrants are doing work that's worth millions of dollars, but it's not costing that for the company that has hired them, whether under the table or on the table. You know, but they're still not paying them for what they're actually worth. Why can't you do that in Philadelphia? I don't understand. I know he's trying to do it by the book because he already under the radar and the microscope and all of that. But it just makes you wonder, like, yo, this job should have been done. Think about it. Black people, we get shit done. The fuck is going on? The fuck is really going on?
I'ma stay positive. I'ma stay
get
motivated.
Shit done.
Brothers and sisters, I'ma stay focused.
That shit was in New York.
I'ma stay positive. I'ma stay motivated.
It's not in New York, but just saying.
It's a tough road.
If this school was if he was in New York, yo, that should have been done many years ago. like yesterday, yo, that shit is already, just say less. Done. Okay.
It's hard being out here on my own. I gotta fight utility trolls. I gotta fight black dishonest contractors and thieves. I gotta fight Miss Tiffany Christopher, who tried to sabotage last year's festival. She's sabotaging this year's festival. It's just a fight. I gotta fight a lot of y'all who's constantly sabotaging. Woo!
You got this.
I can't wait to eat tonight. I'm hungry, but I'm sacrificing for the Most High God. Maybe the Lord will make a way for me. My intentions are honest. My behavior is honest.
That might be a fasting brain.
I'm honestly trying to open up a school for our children. I don't know why this is being made so hard.
And that's the thing. I know that people who fast, they well intentioned, right? When they go on fast. But I mean, yeah, it's for the cleansing, right? Symbolically, you're cleansing yourself, but you're also depriving yourself of vital nutrients that you need on a physiological, physical, biological, and psychological, emotional level. You need food. You need those nutrients, right? And you're depriving yourself of that. Perhaps you're not really thinking clearly because you have fasting brain. There is a such thing.
Beautiful campus. Beautiful location. Shout out to the brothers and sisters in Wilmington, Delaware who support me.
This is why
Shout
you
out
need
to the brothers and sisters in Wilmington, Delaware who support me.
A wife to
Charlotte,
balance
North Carolina.
that shit
I look forward
out,
to seeing you guys. Charlotte, North Carolina, I look forward to seeing you guys this coming Saturday at the House of
Unless you just
Africa
like problems and
for the
attention and
Juneteenth
drama.
celebration from 10 to 10. I speak at 3. Charlotte, North Carolina, I look forward to seeing you guys this Saturday,
What do I
June
wanna
18th
eat
at the
to
House of
dinner?
Africa for the Charlotte, North Carolina official Juneteenth celebration 10 until 10. I speak at 3. I will be signing books and taking pictures after the lecture. Columbia, South Carolina, I look forward to seeing you this Sunday,
Okay,
June
we're gonna skip
19th.
through these advertisements
HBCU
here.
Benedict Sunday at 3 o'clock. Brothers and sisters, hit the Cash App, $FDMG School. Hit the Cash App,
Hit the PayPal.
$F so much. Sister Juanita Sutton from Connecticut. Sister Juanita from Groton, Connecticut. Thank you, Sister Juanita. Thank you. We need this, sister. Thank you. There's no name on that
Oh,
one.
he's reading his letter, so he got.
Brother Gary Robinson from Philadelphia. Thank you, Brother Gary. Thank you, Brother Gary Robinson from Philadelphia. Brother Herman from Chicago. Thank you, Brother Herman
plenty
from
of
Chicago
support.
for your donation. A sister from Chesapeake, Virginia. Thank you, whoever made the donation from
You can't
Chesapeake,
let people
Virginia.
down,
Thank
man,
you.
who's donating money to you on a regular
Sister
basis.
Deanna
You
from
cannot
Pittsburgh,
let people
Pennsylvania.
down.
Thank you for your donation, Sister Deanna from Pittsburgh,
You
Pennsylvania.
gotta be more responsible.
M. Davis from Houston, Texas.
That's why his dad
Thank
was
you,
getting on
M.
his
Davis,
ass. He doesn't
for the
know him.
donation from Houston, Texas.
And I had a whole
We have another
conversation with
anonymous
his dad
donation. Thank you for the anonymous
back
donation.
when I was in LA.
Anthony Nash, Wichita Falls, Texas. Thank you, Brother Anthony from Wichita Falls.
And I see where his dad was coming
H.
from.
Telfer from Brooklyn, one of my regular donors.
His dad was about to
H.
say
Telfer
something.
from
His dad was
Brooklyn,
about
one
to
of my
really
regular
spill some
donors.
beans. Me and his dad had a really in-depth conversation on the phone, but his dad really was about to go in, but he was like, you know, I would say some things, but I ain't gonna do my son like that, because you know, your parents know you. You can get on here and try to pull in front of people, but your mom and your daddy know they son. They know. And his followers know too. People
Sister
really
Deanna
pay
is also a
attention.
regular donor. Thank you for your donation.
No.
Queen Mother, Abdullah, and King Abdullah,
Let's
Indianapolis,
let's see. I
Indiana,
think he might be
another
done.
regular donor. Thank you for your
Got
donation.
like 10 minutes left.
Newport News, Virginia.
That's a lot. We still open them.
Uncle Jeff is in Carolina. Thank you, Uncle Jeff. Uncle Jeff, the only
Yep.
diamond donor in the look.
See? You can get
Sister
money.
Tamar. Thank you, Sister Tamar out of Maryland. Regular donor, Sister Tamar. Brothers and sisters, if I missed your donation by chance, charge it to my mind, not my heart. If I missed your donation by chance, charge it to my head, not my heart. I'm fasting for the Most High God. I'm asking for some divine intervention. Because for the first time since we started this campaign 8 years ago, I'm a little discouraged. For the first time since we started this campaign 8 years ago,
That's not
I'm a little discouraged. I'm not quitting. I'm not giving up. I promised black boys that I would not stop. I promised little black girls that I would not stop. I'm not going to give up.
Make it through this time.
But for the first time, I feel discouraged. Brothers and sisters, I want to ask you, I want to solicit your support for the shockumentary, The Psychoacademic War Against Black Boys. I want to solicit your support for the shockumentary,
Yeah, that can be a blessing.
The Psychoacademic War Against Black Boys. I need your help.
You gotta trust the universe. Sometimes we
I
need
need you
the
to become a
universe out and
sponsor.
forget.
We're supposed to start filming next week. Excuse me, next month. Next month. We're going to take a whole week and knock all the interviews out. We're going to take a whole week and knock all the interviews out. We're going to take a whole week and knock all the interviews out. If you would be so kind to be a $100 sponsor of the shockumentary, if you would be so kind to be a $250 premier sponsor of the shockumentary, and if you would be so kind to be a $500 elite sponsor of the shockumentary. Brothers and sisters, we got to raise money. I have to take care of all of the expenses, the traveling, equipment, everything related to the documentary. This is going to be the first.
That's where he need to team up
made
with
for the
Arena
movies
Sheed and put that
documentary.
bullshit aside.
This is going to be the first made for the
Yeah,
movies
Tariq Nasheed's
documentary
production team, but
that will finally
I
tell
think
the
most
truth
of Tariq Nasheed's
about
production
black
team
children.
is white out in LA.
This
so
will
now
finally
I know.
tell the truth about black children. If you are a basic level sponsor, you're going to get a viewing of the shockumentary,
Okay, I'm
an
about to
autograph hoodie. You would get a they go to Zelle using my with me. For those of you who are fasting with me,
This is the end of the video.
I want to wish you a healthy Pan-African fast. I'm going to have y'all walk with me back to the car. Somebody just pulled up behind my car and they never got out. Somebody just pulled up behind my car and they never got out. So let me find out who's pulled up behind my car. Let's find out, brothers and sisters.
Schizophrenic. White people run your ass crazy fucking around. To whom much is given, much is required. Putting a lot
Black
of pressure on your back.
All right.
You got that on camera?
Yes, sir.
Let me get that.
Well, it's on video. You got your phone on you?
Yeah.
Take my number.
Yeah, you could just airdrop it. Like, go to your gallery.
Take my number. I ain't doing all that. I got to run. Take my number. Text me. And I got you.
Somebody riding up on a
215
bicycle.
989 9858.
98.
Dr. Umar, UMAR. All right?
My name is Gordon.
Got you, Brother Gordon. Yes, sir.
You think that nigga selling
See
dope.
who
You know how
pulling up.
dope dealers be paranoid and shit, always looking over their shoulder scared
Before we
because they
take
know
off.
they're doing wrong. And that shit become a real damn disorder.
Okay.
Fucking imbalance in the brain. So where was it? He walked over there trying to see what was behind his car. It was just nobody. See, you look at the world through a certain lens. You know what I'm saying? I'm paranoid.
I think that was a sister just enjoying herself. You know, I got to check. The self-hate is so bad these days. Oh, man.
You gotta, come on, man. Just enjoy life. It ain't that bad. Wouldn't it be pitiful if you look at everything as hate and the enemy trying to get you? Okay, that was the end of the video. You look at everything as hate and people trying to get you and it's all about you when a big portion of it really wasn't that. Like, that was a prime example, right? In this video, as he was walking back to his car, he was like, oh, somebody just pulled up behind my car. And he's all suspicious and he's walking a certain way towards his car and he had to go walk up and look at her car and like, oh, that's just a sister, assuming that that was somebody out to get him. You know, honestly, I know historically, yes, that's how things have been historically when you have these revolutionary leaders out to effect systemic change, to kind of undo the residual effects of white supremacy. Those people have been slaughtered, right, and their missions have been disrupted. But I think his vision definitely is revolutionary. But when it comes to the level of threat that he himself is causing against white supremacy, I don't think it's that great. I think they have other people to be more concerned about than Dr. Umar Johnson. I honestly don't think that he's that much of a threat to the system. I think it makes him feel like empowered and feel great and grandiose to think that he's such a threat to the system. I think his vision, if it is like, you know, if it's carried out, but the reason why I say he's not much of a threat because He's his own biggest enemy. And he shoot his own self in the foot before they can even do it. So that's how I see it. I mean, it's clear as day, right? If the school was already open and he was teaching, yeah, that would be a threat. But, you know, he can't even fucking organize the school and to create the entity that's supposed to be to register it as a appropriate entity, let alone, you know, hire the right people to get the repairs done, to get the work done, to be able to see the school to fruition, right? So how are you so much of a threat if you can't even do basic, you know, I'm going to say basic because I never opened a school, but let's say rudimentary things that are required to get this school up and running that will make it a threat to the structure, the system. You not even nowhere near that, right? You're just speaking words. There are a lot of people who are on social media, on YouTube, and they spend hours, you know, just talking, which he speak against, right? Saying all these YouTubians just speaking against the system, but that's speaking is not a threat. White people who are truly empowering, if they have watched him or he's on their radar, which in his mind he thinks he is, and that could be a bit of grandiosity, but they probably, you know, if he is on their radar, they're probably thinking like, he's not really a threat because what are you doing, right? You're not breaking down any barriers systemically. Yes, you are waking up people's minds, but people's minds been woke. You think about it, a woke mind is not even a threat necessarily, right? If there's no action to follow. You woke up people's mind, but yet they're still going back to sleep when they go to their 9-to-5 job, working for the system, right? You talk about, oh, you only want black dollars, but is it truly 100% black when a white person is writing a check? Right? These same donations that you're reading off in your video and you're depositing into your bank account come from the hands of white people who is paying these black people pennies to work for their ass, to slave for them 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. So, and breaking it down that way, how much of a threat are you? Are you really shaking up? Think about it. Are you really shaking up the system? No, you're not really shaking up anything. The very thing that he speaks out against, to say, oh, well, the YouTubians and the people who just talk the talk, they're preaching self-love. They're preaching stepping into one's black identity. Okay, that's good, but that's not enough to effect, you know, systemic change. Well, that's what you're doing, right? You're teaching people who they are, you know, teaching them about their African roots. That's powerful. That's I think is what's needed for us to really begin to see the world in a different lens, right? And to be able to maneuver in the world in a different way, thereby creating, you know, effectual change. But at the same time, I feel like this is where the conversation kind of takes a turn and becomes difficult, because a person can look black, right, and be proud of their black identity. You had people back in the 60s and the 70s, I'm black and I'm proud. Is that a threat, though? Is that a threat? How much of a threat is that to the system? Right? These people got publicity. People marching in marches. That's all in the history books, right? Which were promoted by the system, white people. So how much is something a threat that's even being promoted, right, by white people? How is that a threat? You're on a platform, prime example, that's owned and controlled by white people. And they gave you the blue check. He has a blue check on Instagram. They know you. They gave you the blue check, right? They allow your video stream to show up in many people's timeline, right, at the top, so that you get a lot of views. They're helping to promote you. If they're helping to promote this person, this public figure who's supposed to be this big of a threat to the system, that's kind of oxymoron. It's not really making sense. That's just like these A-list celebrities, these black people Are they much of a threat to the system when they're kind of like the token Negroes that these white people can sit around and dangle and say, hey, look, there's a such thing as working hard and making a lot of money and becoming successful. Look at these token Negroes, right? No, they have you exactly right where they want you, and you're in a very comfortable place. And you're not a threat. They see that you're about, and your spirit is moved towards revolutionary work, but how much are your actions? How can you say that you are truly about revolutionary work if your actions aren't really in alignment with that? Where is your black wife? It really starts there. You can see that you spew hatred towards your people, right? It starts off about being about black power and black love, self-love. But when you're filled with so much hatred and animosity and frustration towards your own people, makes you wonder. Do you see how you have morphed into this man that once was this icon of a leader to pull the black community out of the trenches, right? You were once that, but you've been attacked so much. Your efforts have been sabotaged to the extent, like you say, you're tired, and you've been tired. He's saying, okay, well, this is the first time that I'm saying this in the 8-year span that I've been doing this. No, he's been tired. And you can hear it in his voice, the way he is so quick to cut a black person off, to block a black person, right? To discount the perspective of his own reflection, someone who looks just like him. It's worth taking a deep, self-critical look at yourself to see, right, how you have morphed into this new being. On that note, I'm going to end this video. You guys feel free to show your comments below. Like he said, he's tired. And I think it's just symbolic. For you to express you're tired is for you to be human. Right? You just being honest. He's tired. He's human. He has a right to feel. And he's expressing how he feels. But meanwhile, it's symbolic. There's a meaning to this. And this is just an example. Right? This is taking a look at what is capable of happening and how plans, visions are intersected, are disrupted, movements are dismantled. Essentially, that's what's happening. And to show that all it takes is a bit of resistance from the system, a little bit of challenge, a little bit of barriers, and you get tired, but you still have a little fight. Because notice at the end of the video, he was like, you know what, let's not give up, let's keep going. So you still a little fight, but to know that you're just this close, you almost made that decision. You were this close to saying fuck it all, right? And of course, the people that love you, the people you're fighting for, will pull your ass back. So even if your ass tired and you feel like giving up, you can't. They ain't gonna let your ass sleep. You ain't gonna let you sleep. Your spirit ain't gonna let you sleep. The ancestors ain't gonna let your ass sleep. You have absolutely no choice, because you have been called. You have been chosen. So you have no choice but to continue to put one foot in front of the other and keep going. Even if your ass feel like you ain't got no fight left in you. And this is the beauty of it. Because now you have a very colorful story to tell. A very layered story. Very textured story to tell. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than the mission, the vision that you set out to achieve. Keeping things into the proper perspective. What y'all think? Share your comments below. I'll catch you guys in the next one.